This morning, a tentative deal reached between union leaders and Hollywood studios.
I've been crying for the last 15 minutes. My phone has been blowing up. I just feel indescribable joy.
The agreement coming just 5 days shy of what would have been the longest Hollywood strike in more than 70 years. The Writers Guild of America touting solidarity in an email to members and thanking other union members for their extraordinary support on the picket lines for over 146 days.
That's right, the Writers Guild of America and the group representing the studios and the streamers have reached a tentative deal on a new contract for 11,500 striking WGA members. Now this follows, again, 146 days of the strike taking place and several days of negotiating between the writers and the studios. Now the Writers Guild of America emailed strike captains the news on Sunday night, and shortly after, its negotiating committee informed all members. Here is what the email said. We have reached a tentative agreement on a new 2023 MBA, which is to say an agreement in principle on all deal points subject to drafting final contract language. We can say with great pride that this deal is exceptional with meaningful gains and protections for writers in every sector of the membership. So that's really good news. It seems like they at least verbally have agreement in regard to some of the major concessions they wanted from these studios, although I want to be clear that we don't know the details of the tentative agreement. That has not been reported yet. However, I do want to note that the studios were not quite as enthusiastic in the message that they put out into the world. So they wrote that the WGA and AMPTP have reached a tentative agreement. That was their only comment. That was it.
Yeah. So that leads to a conclusion that is very clear. The writers won. Holy cow, the strike worked. So this, what have we been telling you guys? Get caught trying, okay? And here they are. They whether the teachers go on strike, they win. The writers go on strike, they win. The UAW will win soon. All these strikers, you know why they're winning? There's two reasons why. Number one, these companies actually do have massive profits.
Yes.
And number two, when they start losing bigger profits because of the strike, they go, well, okay, fine, we could share a little bit, right?
Totally.
Because now I'm losing more money from not sharing than I am from sharing. And so that's what the dynamic of union power does. When you have collective bargaining, when you all work together and put pressure and leverage on these companies. They had the money to give, they were choosing not to give it until you made them give it. So this is a giant win. I mean, they got almost everything they wanted, and I'm gonna give you details of how bad the companies were hurt before they cried uncle.
Okay, so before you do that, I just want to also do a mention of the UPS workers who luckily didn't need to go on strike, but the leverage they had with 150,000 employees engaging in the collective bargaining and threatening to strike, that made a big difference. And they received pretty much every concession they wanted from UPS, which was impressive to say the least. So it shows you the power of organized labor. Now, again, the specifics of the deal have not been shared publicly yet. However, the New York Times reports that the deal has much of what the union members had demanded, including increases in compensation for streaming content, concessions from studios on minimum staffing for television shows, and guarantees in artificial intelligence technology will not encroach on writers' credits and compensation. And look, this is the important caveat. The union hasn't voted, meaning the union members haven't voted on it, so it has not been ratified yet. So there still needs to be several steps before this is all done. But so far it's looking really good, and it's really great news for the writers because I honestly didn't know if they were going to get these concessions.
So first of all, look, they're going to ratify it, and the reason they're going to ratify it is, unless I'm missing something gigantic, it looks like they got almost everything they asked for, which is a bit stunning. And remember the stories we shared with you guys where the cocky, overconfident Hollywood executives were saying, oh, we're just gonna make sure that they basically bleed out so much they can't afford the rent anymore and they can't afford food anymore, and then we'll break them. Oops, that's not what happened. And I'm gonna tell you why you guys partly caused this in a second, but let me tell you why they made the deal. Warner Brothers recently wrote off some amount of money. What writing it off means saying to the stock market, yeah, our previous projections were wrong. We're going to lose this much money that we did not expect earlier, and it's because of the strike, they said. You know what the number was? $300 to $500 million.
Wow.
Okay, so when you lose about $400 million, and it's way less to pay your writers more, you begin to think like, I think I might have done the wrong calculation here. Exactly. It turns out the studios bled out. The executives and the shareholders, et cetera, bled out, not the workers. So great job, workers. And that's not the only one. Combined for these studios, the estimates are they've lost $1.6 billion in global ticket sales. And that's just one part of the industry, okay? And you could tell how much of a panic there was, because at the end, instead of just letting their representative negotiate this for them, Iger, Zaslav, and all the top CEOs came into the negotiation. That's when you know they're about to surrender, right? There was a massive panic. Now, let me tell you why you guys helped to do this. Remember, just about a year ago or so, year and a half, 2 years ago, agitation began at the grassroots level among workers. And remember Starbucks, where they couldn't even get a union to represent them the right way. And they said, all right, we're gonna form our own union. And then union members started agitating union leadership. Why aren't you guys fighting? Why aren't you fighting? We haven't gotten anything in years. These guys are packing away trillions of dollars in profits. Next thing you know, there was a vote at several of these places, including UAW, where they threw out the old union leaders, brought in new union leaders. At Teamsters, the guy that they brought in made a giant difference in winning that UPS deal. O'Brien, that's right. Now Fain at UAW making a giant difference. Fran Drescher, believe it or not, is SAG-AFTRA did it. It's kind of, I say believe it or not because it sounds kind of funny. She was the main star of the sitcom The Nanny, right? But no, she's been so tough that they're worried they can't get a deal because she's insisting on an even better deal than the writers, right? The writers are super tough, and all of a sudden, so it starts at the grassroots. They don't want you to try, guys. And look at what you did when you tried. It bubbled up, and now some of the top CEOs, Zaslav made $250 million the other year, okay? You broke them because you tried. So thank you to everyone that was involved in that effort, and for the writers, excellent job. Not just for yourself, but for all workers.
Now, final thing that I'll mention is the Writers Guild of America has suspended picketing for now, but they're still going strong. As soon as it's ratified, as soon as it's finalized, they're ready to go back to work, although they're not allowed to go back to work until the new contract is in fact ratified. Now, with that said, the actors' strike is still taking place. It's still going strong, and unfortunately, very little progress has been made in that regard. Tens of thousands of actors remain on this strike, and no negotiation talks between the actors union, SAG-AFTRA, and the studios are scheduled for now. But maybe that's where the studios are going to focus their energy after the writers' strike is finally completed. So even though there's progress with the writers' strike, even though they might ratify a contract very soon, if you're under the impression that the Hollywood strike is overall done with, that's not the case. The actors are still striking, and so it remains to be seen where the negotiations are headed in that regard. But of course, we'll fill you in as we learn more details.
I just realized, funny enough, if we were going to write a script about the strike, this is exactly how you would write it, and the good guys win at the end.
Totally.
If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.